Thanks to everybody in our living room for coming tonight. Welcome to you guys in real life, and also to you guys sitting with your laptop in your bedroom or your living room. Get somewhere cozy, put your laptop on your bed, tear your TV off of your wall, and put it next to your fireplace, and just snuggle it. Get a hot chocolate or something, or like blue milk, or whatever you associate with holidays. I don't know if you celebrate Life Day, or if you celebrate Hanukkah, or Christmas, or whatever. This first song is about the holidays.
Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye, oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Yea, Lord, we greet thee upon this heavenly morning. Jesus, to thee be all glory given. Word of the Father, now in flesh appearing. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Sing choirs of angels, oh, sing in exultation. Sing, O ye citizens of heaven above. Glory to God in the highest. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Oh,
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Woo. Christmas. It's a time for baby Jesus and reindeer. You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? Here we go. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose,
Like a light bulb. like Gideon.
They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer game. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say,
Hey, Rudolph,
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, ooh, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Yeah. Then how those reindeer loved him, and they shouted out with glee,
hey, Rudolph,
Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
like Gandhi. Oh, Rudolph, we weren't talking about you. We said rude elf because there was this very rude elf down in the toy shop who was drinking too much eggnog, so his nose became very red, and that's what we said, rude elf.
Sure. That makes total sense to me, right? Right? Sounds good.
Give Josh a hand, guys. They're working overtime. Let's take it to the bridge.
Here we go. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say,
Hey, Rudolph,
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, oh, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how those fair weather reindeer loved him, and they shouted out with glee,
hey, Rudolph,
Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Rudolph, won't you guide my sleigh? Rudolph, gotta guide my sleigh. Rudolph, gotta guide my sleigh. Guide my sleigh. Guide my sleigh. Thank you.
This next tune, guys, isn't a Christmas classic yet, but I'm really hoping it will be eventually. Silent Night is only like 200 years old, and I like to think that Franz Gruber never imagined that every Christmas Eve service ever was gonna end with it, and hopefully in a couple hundred years, just 100, 200, every church service will finish with this John Prine tune. Hopefully, handle it. It's called Christmas in Prison.
It was Christmas in prison, and the food was real good. We had turkey and pistols carved out of wood. And I dream of her always, even when I don't dream. Her name's on my tongue, and her blood's in my stream. Wait a while, eternity. Oh, Mother Nature's got nothing on me. So come to me, run to me, come to me now. We're rolling, my sweetheart, we're flowing by God. She reminds me of a chess game with someone I admire, or a picnic in the rain after a prairie fire. And her heart is as big as this whole goddamn jail. She's sweeter than saccharin at a drugstore sale. Wait a while, eternity. Oh, Mother Nature's got nothing on me. So come to me, run to me, come to me now. We're rolling, my sweetheart, we're flowing by God. Wait a while, eternity. Oh, Mother Nature's got nothing on me. So come to me, run to me, come to me now. We're rolling, my sweetheart, we're flowing by God. Now the searchlight in the big yard swings round with the gun, and it spotlights a single snowflake like the dust in the sun. It is Christmas in prison, so there'll be music tonight. I will probably get homesick, 'cause I love you. Good night. Wait a while, eternity. Oh, Mother Nature's got nothing on me. So come to me, run to me, come to me now. We're rolling, my sweetheart, we're flowing by God.
That might be the best time you've ever sung that song. I think it was, don't you think? That sounded great.
Couldn't agree more.
What a better time to do it.
Yeah, I haven't heard you.
Insult to Andrew's past performance.
Yeah, I have to say, when I heard him sing it in prison, he was in a worse mood.
Guys, we are gonna give somebody a Christmas present. Actually, we're gonna give somebody a birthday present. Who has a birthday in December? Raise your hand.
Or say the first week of January.
Or say the first week of January. Thank you. These are my math guys. They're going to help me with the numbers. Who has a birthday that's 5 days close or less? Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Wow, I hope we
Holy
brought
crap.
more than
you
one
guys
present.
are quadruplets. Tonight is the night we find out. Okay. Less than 1 day. One day away. Anybody on Christmas? Yeah!
Wow. Wow.
There's a Christmas birthday in the house.
Will you grab a present that vaguely looks like the Gregory Brothers vinyl? There you go. That's it. That is the Gregory Brothers Christmas vinyl record.
What a
Sleigh
wrapping
Ride
job.
Fireside.
Yeah, inside our new album, Sleigh Ride Fireside. You know, you get one for free.
Give one to someone you love on Christy's birthday.
Exactly. Great point. Let's sing another song. You want to?
Yeah,
Okay,
let's do it.
all right.
I think we should, just because we gave out the birthday Christmas gift, I think we should stick with Christmas songs.
Good point.
I
Good
thought we were
point.
done with the song portion of the show and we were on to the giveaways portion for the next.
What if we did just like make everyone go around the room, open a present, and then give a hug to somebody who gave it to them?
When's your birthday? No presents for you. Okay, let's go.
I just realized that was an impression of.
hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. While shepherds kept their watching o'er silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
The shepherds feared and trembled when low above the earth rang out the angel chorus that hailed our Savior's birth.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
And lo, when they had heard it, this verse is for the elephants watching, they all bowed down to pray. Then traveled on together, woo, that was for the cats, to where the baby lay.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
Down in a lowly manger, the humble baby Jesus is born. God sent us salvation, that blessed Christmas morn. Well, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Well, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Go over the hills and everywhere Jesus Christ is born. Go Jesus Christ is born. Go over the hills and everywhere Jesus Christ is born. Go
elephant line really tickled me. That really got me.
Thank you, thank you.
Right in the funny elephant bone.
It wasn't really for you. It was for people with elephants. But
Right. Well, so I've heard you say that line before. Sorry to call you out, but and for the first time, I actually envisioned elephants listening to the song, and it really took me to a place.
if you are watching on YouTube, you can open another tab and watch elephants listening to music. And keep this
Especially-
tab
That's
open.
good.
Keep the tab open. But it's really astounding, right?
Yeah, especially if you don't know what an elephant is.
Your mind will be blown.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be me.
Woo! Okay, I'm gonna sing the next song. I'm gonna sing the next song. It's a German carol. This is the point at which I was gonna like tell you something about my family traditions, and we have a lot of them. But this song, it's not a family tradition. I learned it later in life, and it's a great song called "Still, Stille, Stille, Still." But I won't sing the German tonight.
On my set, it says, "Go get eggnog for everybody."
Please go.
Oh.
It's important. I always like to drink eggnog when I'm sweating. It's a great combination.
The dairy is really good for the voice.
I've had a handful of holiday tragic stories that involved eggnog. I'm not the only one, right? It's dangerous. Okay, here we go. Still, 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 one can hear the falling snow. For all is hushed, the world is sleeping. Holy star, its vigil keeping. Still, 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 one can hear the falling snow. Sleep, sleep, sleep. 'Tis the eve of our Savior's birth. The night is peaceful. All around you, close your eyes. Let sleep surround you. Sleep, sleep, sleep. 'Tis the eve of our Savior's birth. Dream, dream, dream of the joyous day to come, while guardian angels without number watch you as you sweetly slumber. Dream, dream, dream of the joyous day to come.
Oh my gosh,
What?
Mr. Harnigan Woolstead,
Oh my gosh.
here in our humble living room instead of at your sold-out show at Radio City Music Hall.
I told them to vamp for a little bit. The Rockettes are there, so.
Oh, you have the matinee, the 7 o'clock show, the 9:30 show, the midnight show, the 2 a.m. show. And you made time to come down here to our humble living room. Wow.
I just had to come.
Mr. Harnigan Woolstead, ladies and gentlemen. Writer of Christmas hits from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 90s.
Actually, it's the 50s, 60s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and today. But you might be wondering what happened to the 70s. And well, I'll tell you. I was trying to break into disco under a pseudonym, Chris Gaines. But a terrible tragedy occurred. Right when I was breaking through, they burned all my disco records in the baseball stadium. And I've never gotten over it. So now it's back to Christmas. Back to the classics. So we're going to sing you a classic about the most traditional of Christmases.
Which, of course, you all already know the song because it's a hit in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Feel free to sing along.
Children of a certain age don't know how Christmas goes. So let's pass it down and tell them how to Christmas like a pro. Happy holidays to you. It's time to do all those traditions we do. Like wrap those presents and tie them bows and spread oily butter on Uncle Joe. Happy holidays to you. It's time to do those traditions we do. To do that Christmas we all do. The smell of gingerbread cookies fills the kitchen. While we're mistletoe kissing. And we're all humming a familiar tune. We always run into the forest and shave a muskrat and tape the fur on Uncle Joe's mustache so we can chase him in the nude. But why am I reminding you it's the same thing that you do? Oh, happy holidays to you. It's time to do all those traditions we do. Decorating the tree while we listen to carols. Burning Uncle Joe's belongings in a barrel. Happy holidays to you. It's time to do those traditions we do. To do that Christmas we all do. We always hang that fresh green garland on the front porch. With the wreath on the front door. And make them shine with Christmas lights. And we always force feed Uncle Joe with raw milk from a goat, so we can fortify his bones and make him strong on wrestling night. But why am I telling you that's the same thing that you do? Oh, happy holidays to you. It's time to do all these traditions we do. Like baking neighbor's bread to spread holiday cheer and dressing Uncle Joe up as a sexy reindeer. Happy holidays to you. It's time to do those traditions we do. To do that Christmas we all do. But the one tradition that I'll never understand is why Uncle Joe hates Christmas. What a Scroogey, Grinchy, Mr. Potter, Penny Pinchery, sociopath. Merry Wrestling Eve.
I just can't
Bravo.
believe we're up here singing backup for
It's
Mr.
such a-
Harnigan Woolstead.
What an honor.
I mean, I used to, as a kid, just sit in my bedroom at night, listening to headphones, memorizing all the backup harmonies.
Well, the honor is all yours. It's great to be here. This next song I would introduce, but the song has an introduction that explains the purpose thereof. And as you might know, one great reason to sing Christmas music or my music is because we get to harken back to the good old days of having introductions. Nowadays, all these kids are just having songs with no intros, and it's unacceptable to me. Songs should be 10 minutes long.
80% of which is the intro, right?
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm stepping on your toes.
Goes without saying.
I had to do the math in my head, but that's the right ratio.
Yeah.
4-to-1 ratio of introduction to song. Well, the world is now quite different. It's getting rather hot. But that don't mean that there can't be an occasional temperature drop at most latitudes. Shout out to people watching in Brazil, where there might not be a relatively large drop. But you know what I mean, it's still technically Winter that this time for us is tied to such a festive way of living, when we are all fat fatties and not a single fuck is given. A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3. Oh, you know that Christmas is coming round when it's cold as hell. And you know that Santa's coming to town when it starts to get cold as hell. We're freezing our asses off around the nation. At least there's one big consolation. We're about to smother each other with gifts, but that don't change that it's cold as shit. You know you're about to see friends and family when it's cold as hell. And you'll gain 10 pounds on pie and candy when it starts to get cold as hell. Yeah, we're freezing our asses off around the world. All the cold-ass boys and the hypothermic girls. Get ready for 100 renditions of Jingle Bells when it's cold as hell. Oh, so long ago when I was an itty-bitty baby, the slightest hint of chill made me moan and groan so awful crazy. But now as I toil away on a frigid day, scraping the car off, it ain't so bad. No, I don't mind a bit, it won't quit, 'cause there's the light at the end of the tunnel as I'm freezing my balls off. Oh, as I'm freezing my balls off. You know they're selling out of things you don't need when it's cold as hell. And there's a genocide of all the pine trees when it starts to get cold as hell. We're freezing our asses off around the nation. At least there's one big consolation. We're about to smother each other with gifts. Though that don't change that it's cold as shit. You know that Frosty's coming to life when it's cold as hell. And someone's gonna die outside of Best Buy when it starts to get cold as hell. Yeah, we're freezing our asses off around the world. All the cold-ass boys and the hypothermic girls. Get ready for 100 renditions of Jingle Bells. Oh, when it's cold as hell. Put on your gloves, put on your hat. Go get your coat, snatch it off the coat rack. Ooh, if you forget, you'll be in deep shit 'cause it's cold as hell.
Bravo.
Harrigan Woolstead, thanks so much for taking time out of
I'm
your
all
Radio
aflutter.
City
It's a
Music
real
Hall
honor.
run.
Such an honor
And
to see you in person.
1, 2, 3, 4.
oh, put on your gloves, put on your hat. Go get your coat, snatch it off the coat rack. Ooh, if you forget, you'll be in deep shit 'cause it's cold as hell.
Thank you. Good. Give me an arrhythmia there.
So great. So great. If you need to be going, that's okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Put on your gloves, put on your hat. Go get your coat, snatch it off the coat rack. Ooh, if you forget, you'll be in deep shit 'cause it's cold as hell.
Well, I know you guys really want me to stay, but I've got to be going. I have some very important things to do. But it's been an honor and a privilege. That's an honor spelled H-O-N-O-U-R. It's
More
a fancy
formal,
British
yeah.
honor.
I heard it.
We could tell.
I heard
Clear,
it.
very clear. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great rest of your show tonight at Radio City.
Wow, Mr. Harnigan Wilson.
Guys, feel free to sing along. It is the most known song after all. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, jingle
Oh, I really went to some places. There's something amazing about that song that we just accept that we're still singing a song about a one-horse open sleigh 150 years later or whatever. I mean, that one just made it in, and it stuck.
Yeah, at a recent show, I was like, oh, it's crazy. Who rides in a one-horse open sleigh? What even is that? And there was a guy in the audience that was like, it's still a thing. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure
It is.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I ride in a closed sleigh.
Okay, speaking of things that we snuck in, I'm going to sing a song here about the redheaded stepchild of Christmas, namely New Year's Eve. A holiday that deserves to be beloved, and it is, but it stands in the shadow. So we thought we'd just rope it in to this holiday party, and the song is called "What Are You Doing New Year's Eve?" Let's count it in, guys. Maybe it's much too early in the game. I thought I'd try and ask you just the same. What are you doing New Year's Eve? Wonder whose arms will hold you good and tight when it's exactly 12 o'clock that night, welcoming in the New Year's Eve. Maybe I'm crazy to suppose that I'd ever be the one that you chose out of 1,000 invitations that you'd receive. But just in case I stand one little chance, here comes the jackpot question in advance. What are you doing New Year's Eve? A hand for Mr. Justin Keller. Maybe I'm crazy to suppose that I'd ever be the one that you chose out of 1,000 invitations that you get in your email. But just in case I stand one little chance, here comes the jackpot question in advance. What are you doing New Year's Eve? Thanks. Justin, that was silky.
If Evan just serenaded us with a song about New Year's Eve in the future tense, about the promise and the wonder of New Year's Eve, I'm now going to sing you a tune of my own that's in the past tense about the sadness and disaster that a New Year's Eve can entail, that hopefully I've wrapped up and gift wrapped and changed my personal disaster into your personal merriment. And yeah.
This is a great
There you go.
counterpoint.
Yeah.
Point, counterpoint.
So this is a tune called New Year's Eve.
I would like to apologize for New Year's Eve. All those things that I said as the ball began to fall. But your dress looked so nice, and the moment seemed right on New Year's Eve. Yes, I'd like to say I'm sorry, oh, for New Year's Eve. How I looked in your eyes as the ball began to fall. I guess now we both know old flames can't dance that close on New Year's Eve. Oh, but the one thing I am most sorry for is that on New Year's Day I woke up and I was all alone because you didn't stay. I don't know what got into me on New Year's Eve. Our resolution had been to just remain friends, but your dress was so small and my drink was so tall. On New Year's Eve, oh, but the one thing I am most sorry for is that on New Year's Day I woke up and I was all alone because you didn't stay. Oh, but the one thing I am most sorry for is that on New Year's Day I woke up and I was all alone because you didn't stay. So will you forgive me, oh, for New Year's Eve? All those kisses I stole as we counted down to 0. Guess my timing was wrong to say I've loved you for so long. On New Year's Eve, I guess my timing was wrong to say I've loved you for so long. On New Year's Eve.
Sarah's returning to the stage, guys, to sing an original tune of her own on our album, Sleigh Ride Fireside. There's some classic tunes on it, but there's some original tunes on it, too. New Year's Eve is on there, and this wonderful tune by Sarah's on it as well.
I've thought a lot about it, and now I plainly see I don't want much of anything beneath my Christmas tree. sweet, the sweetest one around. Don't get me gifts, don't get me holly, don't get me candy canes or silver bells, none of those will make me one bit jolly. I don't want sleigh rides rolling side, chestnuts on an open fire. I don't want anything for Christmas but you. I used to like all of the parties, all of the caroling or revelry made me feel just absolutely sparkling. Now I don't want champagne or figgy pie, dancing or snowy skies. I don't want anything for Christmas but you. We all know Santa's for the kids, he fills his sleigh for them. But Santa, if you have the time, listen to my wish. Don't get me gifts, don't get me holly, don't get me candy canes or silver bells, none of those will make me one bit jolly. I don't want sleigh rides or old lang syne, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. I don't want anything for Christmas but you. We all know Santa's for the kids, he fills his sleigh for them. But Santa, if you have the time, listen to my wish. Don't get me gifts, don't get me holly, don't get me candy canes or silver bells, none of those will make me one bit jolly. I don't want sleigh rides or old lang syne, chestnuts roasting on any kind of fire. I don't want anything, don't get me anything. I don't want anything for Christmas but you. Nice.
Yeah, this next song is was rated by the FDA as hazardous to your health and should not be performed live.
Scientists said that it was impossible.
Yeah.
But we thought that we would try singing Home Alone, the movie, the song.
So, guys, the spirit of this song is that we're going to sing you the story of the movie Home Alone, but using only the music to be found in the orchestral score of the movie Home Alone.
Kevin has bad parents. They leave him and go to Paris.
2, 3, 4.
He's so happy, very glad he's all alone, no one to whine. Shoots a BB gun, sleds the stairs for fun, sees a naked lady for the first time. Shaves his face and shoplifts, watches gangster films and eats chocolate. But he gets distracted from his fun by two mean criminals who are very dumb. There's John Candy in a van, he's traveling with his polka band. Sees what's happening to poor Catherine O'Hara and gives her a hand. Little does she know that her efforts so pointless and won't save any time. Her family will arrive concurrently with a direct flight. Harry and Marv are so dumb.
Thank you.
They said it couldn't be done.
Thank you.
I think I pulled something.
Wow.
I was really thinking this year, I try to have an original thought about Home Alone every year and look at it from a new perspective. And this year I was really thinking, the message of the movie is supposed to be, well, he wants to make his family disappear and he doesn't want them, but then by the end he realizes that he wants them back. But then if you really think about it, he only wants them back because of the psychopathic thieves that keep breaking into his house or trying to break into his house. So without the thieves, Kevin is good. He's living, he's fine.
Wow.
He doesn't even have a credit card.
But
does
what
he?
are the
He just-
chances? What are the chances that the thieves were going to break into his house? He would have just lived the rest of his life putting softener in his laundry.
God works in mysterious ways.
I noticed something I'd never seen before. I think it's a little bit of a goof in the movie. That if you watch it closely, you realize that one of the villains, I believe it's Harry, they accidentally got the same actor to play a police officer in one of the first scenes in the movie. Huge mistake. The same actor plays a police officer at the beginning of the movie and then the villain.
Really?
Yeah, wow, what a gaffe.
Yeah, huge guy.
Never would have
That's
guessed.
definitely going to be on a Watch Mojo countdown about movie mistakes.
But if Kevin had watched Goodfellas, which came out earlier that year, he would have known that Joe Pesci was not to be trusted.
This is a song I wrote about Christmas. Take it away, Kirk. Sleep, children, neath the stars. Fear not, though it is dark. Sleep in peace, for in the morn light will rise, a Savior's born. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Angels in beauty bright, shepherds in rude attire, look upon the holy face. Heaven and earth met in one place. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Snow falls and branches strain. Cold, tired, we watch and wait. Soon the ice will melt away. Green will come and all will say, Alleluia, 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 alleluia,
Have yourself a very Merry Christmas. Have yourself a very Merry Christmas.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry
Mrs. Sarah Gregory, folks. My friends, I want you to give a warm welcome to a guest who's going to join us on this next extended number, and her name is Casey McIntyre down here. You know her, you love her, and now we've annexed her into the band. So the next thing we're going to do is a retelling of the old short story by O. Henry known as The Gift of the Magi, which is a holiday tale that, when we were growing up, was a tradition for us to kind of like sit around on Christmas Eve when all the kids are going to have nerves that are keeping you up late. It was like sort of like one last thing that we could pester our dad to do to sort of like keep the magic alive before we went upstairs to hit the sack, and he would get out the text and read us this story. Now it then became a tradition, and I don't know why, for Dad to deny that it was a tradition to read it.
I think maybe it happened once. Maybe one year it happened. It was just so nice that the next year we were like, Dad, this is a tradition that you do that. And he was like, I've never done that before. I have no idea what you're talking about. That really was the tradition from, I don't think we ever read it again. But
In the ensuing years, the tradition was the argument.
Which was pretty fun to have. Everyone was having a good time.
So then
Arguments on Christmas are a tradition.
So we took it upon we took it upon ourselves to write down this version, which we present to you now. Let's see. New York at Christmas time is a place beyond compare. Sleigh bells jingle, rosy cheeks tingle at the magic in the air. I see smiling faces in the windows up and down the broad avenues. Folks are singing Christmas carols and wishing for a snowflake or two.
Brother, I must disagree. New York can be so cruel. When that December wind gets under your skin, you can't stand those tired old tunes. Days that were short grow shorter still, and dollars disappear. How can you buy your love something sweet when all you have to spend is tears? I see lonely faces in the windows up and down the broad avenues. Folks aren't singing Christmas carols, it's the cold and empty Christmas time blues.
Well, please look in that window there, that's shining all alone, at that lady that's counting every single penny that she owns. $1.87, that was all, and 62 cents of it was in pennies. Pennies saved 1 and 2 at a time. 3 times Della counted it, $1.87. And the next day would be Christmas. There was clearly nothing to do but flop down on the shabby little couch and howl. So Della did it.
Oh.
Which instigates the moral reflection that life is made up of sobs, sniffles, and smiles, with sniffles predominating. While the mistress of the home is gradually subsiding from the first stage to the second, take a look at the home. A furnished flat at $8 per week. In the vestibule below was a letterbox into which no letter would go, and an electric button from which no mortal finger could coax a ring. Also appertaining thereunto was a card bearing the name Mr. James Dillingham Young. The Dillingham had been flung to the breeze during a former period of prosperity when its possessor was being paid $30 per week. Now, when the income was shrunk to $20, though, they were thinking seriously of contracting to a modest and unassuming D. But whenever Mr. James Dillingham Young came home and reached his flat above, he was called Jim and greatly hugged by Mrs. James Dillingham Young, already introduced to you as Della.
It was all very good in the Young's house when Jim came home each night. The cares and the troubles all fell away from around Jim and Della's eyes.
Della finished her cry and attended to her cheeks with the powder rag. She stood by the window and looked out dully at a gray cat walking a gray fence in a gray backyard. Tomorrow would be Christmas Day, and she had only $1.87 with which to buy Jim a present. She'd been saving every penny she could for months with this result. $20 a week doesn't go far. And expenses had been greater than she had calculated, as they always are. Only $1.87 to buy a present for Jim. Her Jim. Many a happy hour she had spent planning something nice for him. Something fine and rare and sterling. Something just a little bit near to being worthy of the honor of being owned by Jim.
Each time that he walked through the door, she was reminded of what she loved him for. And as he held her, she loved him more and more. And each time that he saw her standing there, he could not help but for just a moment stare and wonder at the beauty of the simplest things they share. It was all very good in the Young's house when Jim came home each night. The cares and the troubles all fell away from around Jim and Della's eyes.
Now, there were two possessions of the James Dillingham Youngs in which they both took a mighty pride. One was Jim's gold watch that had been his father's and his grandfather's. The other was Della's hair. Had the Queen of Sheba lived in the flat across the air shaft, Della would have let her hair hang out the window to dry just to depreciate Her Majesty's jewels and gifts. Had King Solomon been the janitor, with all his treasures piled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled out his watch every time he passed just to see him pluck at his beard from envy. So now Della's beautiful hair fell about her rippling and shining in a cascade of brown. It reached below her knee and made itself almost a garment for her. And then she did it up again, nervously and quickly. Once she faltered for a minute and stood still while a tear or two splashed on the worn red carpet. On went her old brown jacket, on went her old brown hat. With the whirl of skirts and with the brilliant sparkle still in her eyes, she fluttered out the door and down the stairs to the street, where she stopped. The sign read,
Madame Sofroni, hair goods of all kinds.
One flight up Della ran, and she collected herself, panting. Madame, large, too white and chilly, hardly looked the Sofroni.
Will you buy my hair?
I buy hair. Take off your hat and let's have a sight at the looks of it.
Down rippled the brown cascade. Madame lifted the mass with a practiced hand.
$20.
Give it to me quick. Don't stay your hand. It's hard to part with all I have. Please take it all fast as you can. For once you start, I can't turn back. Give it to me quick, thank you, madame. Now all I own is in my hand. I hope that it will be enough to buy one thing that shows my love.
Oh, and the next 2 hours tripped by on rosy wings. She was ransacking the stores for Jim's present. She found it at last. It surely had been made for Jim and no one else. There was no other like it in any of the stores, and she had turned all of them inside out. It was a platinum fob chain, simple and chaste in design, properly proclaiming its value by substance alone and not by meretricious ornamentation, as all good things should do. It was even worthy of the watch. As soon as she saw it, she knew that it must be Jim's. It was like him, quietness and value. The description applied to both.
Give it to me quick, the one that shines before I've time to change my mind. We've got so many bills to pay, but the watch he wears begs a chain.
$21 they took from her for it, and she hurried home with the 87 cents. With that chain on his watch, Jim might be properly anxious about the time in any company. Grand as the watch was, he sometimes looked at it on the sly on account of the old leather strap that he used in place of a chain. When Della reached home, her intoxication gave way a little to prudence and reason. She got out her curling irons and lighted the gas. And she went to work repairing the ravages made by generosity added to love, which is always a tremendous task, dear friends, a mammoth task. Within 40 minutes, her head was covered with tiny, close-lying curls that made her look wonderfully like a truant schoolboy. She looked at her reflection in the mirror long, carefully, and critically.
Whew. If Jim doesn't kill me before he takes a second look at me, he'll say I look like a Coney Island chorus girl. What could I do? What could I do with $1.87?
At 7 o'clock, the coffee was made, and the frying pan was on the back of the stove, hot and ready to cook the chops. And Jim was never late. Della doubled the fob chain in her hand and sat on the corner of the table near the door that he always entered. And then she heard his step on the stair, away down on the first flight, and she turned white for just a moment. She had a habit for saying a little silent prayer about the simplest everyday things. And now she whispered,
Please, God, make him think that I am still pretty. Please, God, make him think that I am still pretty. Lord, I know not how to pray, but you listen anyway to my small and hopeful, small and hopeful, small and hopeful prayers. Please, God, make him think that I am still pretty.
The door opened, and Jim stepped in and closed it. He looked thin and very serious. Poor fellow, he was only 22, and to be burdened with a family. He needed a new overcoat, and he was without gloves. Jim stopped inside the door, as immovable as a setter at the scent of quail. That was the thing then. His eyes were fixed upon Della, and there was an expression in them that she could not read, and that terrified her. It was not anger, nor surprise, nor disapproval, nor horror, nor any of the sentiments that she had been prepared for. He simply stared at her fixedly with that peculiar expression on his face.
please, God, make him think that I am still pretty.
Della wriggled off the table and went to Jim.
Jim, darling, don't look at me that way. I had my hair cut off and sold because I couldn't have lived throughout another Christmas without giving you a present. It'll grow out again. You won't mind, will you? I just had to do it. But my hair, it grows very fast, Jim. And so now we just should be happy, and you don't know what a wonderfully nice Christmas present I've got for you.
You've cut off your hair.
It was as if he had not arrived yet at that patent fact, even after the hardest mental labor.
Cut it off and sold it. Don't you like me just as well anyhow? I'm me without my hair, right?
Jim looked about the room curiously.
You say your hair is gone.
You needn't look for it. It's sold, I tell you. Sold and gone, too. It's Christmas Eve, boy. Be good to me, for it went for you. Maybe the hairs of my head were numbered, but nobody could ever count my love for you, Jim. Shall I put the chops on?
Della, oh Della, there's nothing you could do. Change your clothes, change your hair, won't change my love for you.
He drew a package from his overcoat pocket and threw it upon the table.
Della, oh Della, well I think that if you open that package there, you'll understand just why you had me going.
White and nimble fingers tore at the string and paper, and then an ecstatic scream of joy. And then, alas, a quick feminine change to hysterical tears and wails. Again, this was written a while ago, okay?
That never happens now.
Yeah, never happened. Necessitating the immediate employment of all the comforting powers of the Lord of the Flat. For there lay the combs, the set of combs side and back that Della had worshipped long in a Broadway window. Beautiful combs, pure tortoise shell, with jeweled rims, just the shade to wear in the beautiful vanished hair. And they were expensive combs, she knew. Her heart had simply craved and yearned over them without the least hope of possession. And now they were hers, but the tresses were gone. But she hugged them to her bosom, and at length she was able to look up with dim eyes and a smile.
My hair grows so fast, Jim.
And then Della leapt up like a little singed cat and cried.
Oh.
Jim had not yet seen his beautiful present. She held it out to him eagerly upon her open palm. The dull, precious metal seemed to flash with a reflection of her bright and ardent spirit.
Isn't it a dandy, Jim? I hunted all over town to find it. You'll have to look at the time 100 times a day now. Give me your watch. I want to see how it looks on it.
Instead of obeying, Jim tumbled down on the couch and put his hands under the back of his head and smiled.
Dell, let's put our Christmas presents away and keep them a while. But they're too nice to use just at present. I sold the watch to get the money to buy your combs. Della, oh Della, now suppose we have some supper. Put on the chops, I'll start a fire. Let us just sit together.
The Magi, as you know, were wise men. Wonderfully wise men who brought gifts to the babe in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents. Being wise, their gifts were, no doubt, wise ones. And here I have lamely related to you the uneventful chronicle of two foolish children in a flat who most unwisely sacrificed for each other the greatest treasures of their house. But in a last word to the wise of these days, let it be said that of all who give gifts, these two were the wisest. Up above, the candles dim as snowflakes start to fall.
When Christmas comes without a sound, it still comes the same after all.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas to all of you. Thanks so much for coming out tonight, guys.
Thank you.
Whether you're here or whether you're here online in the future, thank you. From the U.S. to Timbuktu. We're going to close it out with a New Year's song.
Guys, keep it going. Keep it going. Sing along if you know this one.
And when we get to the hook, make sure to sing along if you know it. You probably watched It's a Wonderful Life, right? It's a song Mr. Gower sings at the end. And the other characters too, I guess.
should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Old lang
got really cold.
We
We want to thank you guys for coming.
Thank you guys.
This is really special to us to have all our friends in the same room. Give yourself a hand. And thank you to everyone who tuned in from around the globe. It's great to see you guys too virtually. Please put your hands together for Matt Holman on the trumpet, Justin Keller on the tenor sax, Josh Rudner on the alto. In the rhythm section, Kirk Schoner on the electric guitar, Brian Massorni on the drum set, my steady rock, Jeremy McDonald on the bass. I'm Evan Gregory, this is Sarah Gregory, Michael Gregory, Andrew Gregory, we're the Gregory brothers. God bless you. Thank you to the YouTube Space New York for having us in our virtual living room. A big thanks to John Rogers, our director, for making everything so beautiful, making us look so good. To the amazing crew around the room and throughout the space, I love you guys. Thanks, Jim. I see you back there. I see you, Ben.
Thank you guys.
Love you guys. Guys, seriously, take a cookie on the way out.
Take a cookie. Take a
Don't
bottle.
leave anything in